Giancarlo Stanton. Sorry, guys. Giancarlo Stanton just hit a 3-run homer for the Yankees after Volpe hit a 2-run homer. So now the Yankees are ahead 5-2, and they got the Rays pitcher throwing a ton of pitches. So I'm very happy at the moment. So good evening. Sorry for the lateness of this getting posted. I actually stopped uh, someplace after earlier, and I never got back here till like 7:30, and I'm like, oh my god, I got to get the live stream set up, right? Oh boy. So yes, craziness. All right, let me kill the volume on my phone real quick. And I literally had, by the time I set the live stream up, I had like 15 minutes. So, so anyhow, all right, here we are. Good evening, everyone. So now, Delbert, I was not, see, I in my group text today with my group, I told them I had made an executive decision to wait until Friday to win because I wanted to make sure that I had more money to work with winning the jackpot. So now it's 1,250,000,000. I think that's enough. I think that that's enough. We were blaming YouTube. No, it was me. I didn't get it up until the last minute, so I do apologize for that. So I'm gonna win Friday, guys. I'm winning. I'm gonna win the Mega Millions on Friday. So again, don't bother to buy your tickets because I will be the winner. And uh, Ed, have you ever done a topic on wild edibles? Actually, I don't think I have. Well, maybe yeah, in a regular video, I've definitely done a topic on wild edibles, not through the chat here. I haven't. So, all right. So before we jump into anything, I would like to remind everybody that this is a very family-friendly oriented channel. I would ask you to please be decent in the chat. No racism, no nastiness. Let's be kind to each other. If you can't do that, those awesome people lit up in blue with the blue wrenches will boot you out of here. So, but headaches, but here, yeah, JJ is recovering, guys. For those of you that don't know, after having a heart attack and having to have a triple bypass, JJ ended up getting moved to a different hospital because he had a brain aneurysm, and so they've done that surgery, and now he's gonna have a lovely scar from that. It'll be a conversation piece. Here's what I always told people, and so I mean I'm sure JJ will appreciate this. When I had my surgery for my cancer, and I have this big old scar on my back, right? And people were like, "Oh my God, that's a big scar." And I said, "Guys, I wouldn't care if it ran down through here, right straight through the center of here." I said, "As long as I'm alive, I don't care." Okay, and I'm sure JJ feels the same way. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting scar. He can grow his hair back. Unlike me, I'm going to stay. Actually, this is too long. You can kind of see it. I gotta shave my head. But anyway, um, yeah, it's you know, it is definitely going to be a conversation piece for him. But he's alive, and that's the important thing. That's definitely the important thing. So he is recovering, but he is here now. JJ, are you still in the hospital, or have they sent you home already? That would be a question, right? I don't know. I don't know if they've sent him home yet. Probably not, is my guess. I wouldn't think that they would have done that yet. Yeah, I can speak 13 languages now. Well, isn't that awesome? They took a lot of the useless stuff out. All right. So we're talking about a plan, right? Do you have a plan? What is your plan? What are you doing, right? And I know we've kind of talked about this before, but I wanted to do it like in a live stream so that we can really go over a lot of things because I do believe it's really, really important. Really important. Okay. And a plan is we're going to basically break it down very, very simply, right? So that it's, if you want to call it layman's terms or whatever the case may be, we're going to basically break it down from the very beginning of this. So, one of the important things that I think people need to realize when you're having a plan, okay? If you have children, if you have a wife, you could be working, your wife could be working, the kids could be at school. Everybody needs to know what they need to do in case of an emergency, right? And when I say an emergency, I'm not talking about, an issue with the town, or I'm talking about a real super disaster, end of the world as we know it type of an emergency. And so, where's everybody going to go? Where are you going to meet up? What is the game plan? If the kids are in school, right? They need to know what you, as the parent, want them to do. Because I will tell you what the school's going to do. The school's going to go, everybody has to stay here, and you can't leave either until your parents pick you up or we give you permission to leave. Okay. And I'm not going to tell you, what you should do or what you shouldn't do in that situation. I know what, if my kids were still school age, I know what I would be telling them. Okay. If it is a worst case scenario, here is the meetup spot, or here's where you need to get to as quickly as you possibly can. So that's kind of where I would be with that type of situation. So you have to have that initial plan. If you don't have that initial plan, that is going to be panic. Panic on you as a parent, panic for your children because they don't know what to do. You don't know what to do. There's going to be a tremendous amount of people out there, folks, that have no game plan, that don't know what they're going to do. And there is going to be widespread panic. You want to keep things calm. You might be freaking out on the inside, right? You might be freaking out on the inside, but you need to have that plan. Like, say the wife works close to the school. So her first thing she should be doing is getting to the school, grabbing the kids, and getting out of Dodge. You maybe work farther away. Who knows? It could be the other way around. I mean, what I'm trying to give ideas. Okay, so you have to have some kind of a plan so that it kicks in automatically for you, for your wife, for your children, whoever's involved in your plan, family, friends, whatever. They know exactly what they need to do. Okay, they know exactly what they need to do. So they're not going to be sitting there like everybody else is going to be freaking out and, oh my God, what are we going to do and what should we do? They're going to be locking it in, and putting that plan in place. And there is a calmness to that because they don't have to think about it. They already know. Okay, these other people that are out there, the majority, 95% of people, right, that don't even have a 2 week supply of food or water, they don't have a plan. They don't know what to do. You're not going to want to be in a position unless you are right there, unless you are at the store, unless you're at the store and something goes down. You're not going to want to make those stops and do, well, we need to do this or we need to do that. You better have your resources, what you need to have already in place. All right. That's also part of the plan. We're going to be discussing that as well. But the initial plan needs to be where are we meeting up? How are we getting there? What do you need to do? Do the kids have bicycles that they can ride to get to wherever they need to go? All those things need to be sat down, discussed, planned out. So, again, when that time comes, nobody has to think, oh my God, what do I need to do? They already know. And you may not think that that's really important, but that's hugely, hugely important. When Heather was at college, okay, and I'm going to give you an example. Now, she's an adult now, right? She's in college, technically an adult, a young adult. So she's at college. She had a bug out bag. She also knew that if she went out of her dorm, went down this one road, crossed, it was probably 3, 4 miles, and then she took a right, and she would hit the railroad tracks. And as soon as she hit the railroad tracks, follow those railroad tracks because they're going south. And that was going to be the most efficient way to get out of Dodge from her location where she was at. So she knew what she needed to do. We sat down, we discussed that. This is the game plan. Because again, what I've told my daughter from the very beginning, when she was off to college, I'm not coming to get you. So that way, there's not going to be any confusion where I go, oh my God, and I panic and I got to go get my child, right? Any parent, you want to make sure I get your kids and get them safe. If you cross each other on the road and not know where they're going, you're going this way and they're coming another way, you could be down there looking for them and they're already back home. Okay, so that's part of a plan, so they know, okay, dad ain't coming. He's not coming. So I know this is what I need to do to get myself in a situation where I can be safe. Now, what I always told her was this also. I said, I don't care if you bring people with you, because there would be that safety in that numbers. If her roommates or somebody else she knew on campus, all she had to do was be like, listen, we get to my dad, we're safe. And you know what? If they're from out of town and RIT, you got a lot of kids that are not from Rochester. So they would most likely go with her, and do that. So having those plans in place, it puts you in a right mindset to start with. Now, having said that, so honestly, when it comes to a plan, that needs to be number one. That really does need to be number one. Where are you going to be? What are you going to do? Because the chances are, that you may not be home when SHTF happens. Now, if everybody's home, great. Who cares, right? Because you're already all there. And then it's just a matter of family getting to you in those type of things. But again, they need to know also what they need to do. Okay. So what do we have? 324 in the chat already. We got 109 thumbs up so far, which is like less than a third. So if you have not shot that thumbs up yet, I'm going to ask you really quick to do so, and I thank you very much ahead of time. Also, it does make a huge difference with the algorithm, so the more interaction that we have, the better it is for the channel, and I thank you for that reason as well. Also, if you are not subscribed, I would ask you to please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. And thank you very much ahead of time for that. Okay, so now let's move on to the next thing we're going to talk about. Bugging in or bugging out. All right, you need to know ahead of time what your game plan is. Do you plan on bugging in? And if you are bugging in, what are you going to do in preparations wise to put yourself in a situation where you're going to be able to protect your property, that you don't have to worry about people breaking in? And I'm going to give you a couple examples. When I lived in Greece, New York, okay, my backyard, we had sliding glass doors for the backyard. Sliding glass doors, right? Big, where you slid it open, you went out into the backyard. Very convenient, very nice. A very easy access point to get into the house as well. In the front of the house, we had a big bay window. So the window went like this, and then it turned like that. Again, that's a weak point. That is another opportunity for people to be able to get into your residence. In your cellars, do you have access ports? Is there an outside access to get into your cellar? And if there's not, could people fit through the windows to get into your cellar? Okay, those are things you really need to think about if you're planning on bugging in. How am I stopping them? What can I do in preparation ahead of time? Again, this is always preparation ahead of time, because when things happen, it's not the time to think, well, if we had put plywood here, or if we had gotten this, or if we'd gotten that. That's not the time. Okay, the time is ahead of time. Have that game plan if you're planning on bugging in. All right, so if you're bugging in, you're also going to be looking at making sure that if you have some kind of a power source, be it solar or a generator or stuff like that, you don't want to have it so that everybody can hear that, especially if you have a generator, right? You don't want everybody in the neighborhood to know that you have a generator, that you have power. Now, if you have solar or whatever the case may be, light discipline is going to be very, very important. And I want you to think about that as well. So, what am I going to do if I have lights on in the house at night in this room or that room or the other room? What am I doing to make sure that people that are outside are not being able to see, right? Blackout curtains are a really good thing. What options are you doing to make sure that they can't see what that you have power? That's important because here's the rub of it. Okay, if you have been prepping and you're prepared and you're planning on bugging in and you live in, we're just going to go with suburbia. We're not even going to talk about the cities, because the cities, if you're in the cities when SHTF happens, my suggestion would be to attempt to get out as quickly as you could, uh, you know, or get out now. The cities are not going to be the place you want to be after SHTF happens. It will be a nightmare waiting to happen. And that's, but we're talking suburbia. It can be very dangerous even in suburbia because, you have all these neighbors. I've lived in suburbia, folks. I lived in suburbia. The last house I lived in, when I lived in Greece, New York, we were for 8 years. Before that, we lived in Charlotte, which was right outside of Rochester down by the beach. We lived there for 6 years. There's a lot of people, and you don't know everybody. You're never going to know everybody because a lot of people are into their own thing. They do their own thing. They mind their own business. But there's way too many people, and there's way too many have-nots if you are a have. So if you have stuff and they don't, and they realize, hey, wait a minute, these people have this, that, the other thing. It's wintertime, right? How are you going to disguise that you have a wood stove and that you have a wood supply? How are you going to disguise that? You're not going to be able to disguise that. You're not. There's no way you're going to be able to disguise that. So those are things to think about with that. What are you going to do? Yeah, elderly people are especially vulnerable. Absolutely, Brick. You're 100% correct, because they may not have people there to help them, or to look out for them and those type of stuff. So bugging in is its own unique set of problems, right? What are you doing for sanitation? Right? Because if the power goes out, folks, there's not going to be water. There's not going to be running water. So what are you doing? What is your game plan ahead of time? Again, planning ahead. What am I doing for sanitation? Am I going in my backyard and digging a hole and going that way? Or do I have like a 5 gallon bucket with plenty of contractor garbage bags? We go in that, we wrap that bag up and toss it back in the back corner of the yard, or who know, whatever you're going to do. What is your plan? You need to have that plan ahead of time. What are you doing for water? Okay. You're going to have maybe so much water at your house, because you're prepping and you're prepared. But how are you gathering more water? Do you have rain barrels? Do you have water storage? All those type of things need to be planned out ahead of time again. And like I said again, now here's another unique set of problems. We're going to talk about bugging out, and this may sound really simple for some of you, okay? And you're going to be like, "What, really?" But I want you to think about this, and you think about the majority of people when I make this statement. Okay, where are you going to go? Where are you going to go? What is your game plan? You're bugging out, great. You're getting out of Dodge because it's not safe in that city. It's not safe in suburbia. You're not far enough away. You got to get out of Dodge, and you got to get out of Dodge. Where are you going? You better have a location of where you're going, because if you're just going to pack up what you can carry, or put in your car what you can carry, you're going to go as far as you can until that car runs out of gas or that truck runs out of gas, and then what are you doing? Right? If you don't have the skill set to survive in the woods, and when I say this, I want you to take this into consideration. This is not, well, I hunt. Well, that's great. You're a weekend guy, and you hang out with your buddies in a cabin, and you drink beer, and you go out and you shoot a deer. Fantastic. And then you sit around and you joke and you watch TV and you have a good time. That's not survival in nature. Okay. So unless you have a skill set and know how to survive in nature, know how to survive in the woods, I would not recommend going into the woods and thinking, I'm going to be John Rambo and I'm going to be great and everything's going to be beautiful. You're going to find out real quick that that is not the case. Um, but if you're going to bug out, you need to have a bug out location. That's number one. Okay. So you have to have a destination of where am I going to go. So knowing where you're going to go is really important. Now, how am I going to get there? Right? There's no guarantee you're going to be able to drive your vehicle. There's no guarantee of that. There's no guarantee that your most optimal route is going to be the easiest way to get there. So you need to have three, maybe four different alternatives to be able to get to your bug out location. That's really important. So you have to think about these things. How am I getting there? What am I doing? Do I have maps? Am I relying on GPS? Well, if you're relying on GPS, you may be SOL. And if you don't know what SOL is, type in the abbreviation SOL and you'll figure it out. Okay. The second two words are out of luck, and the first one you can figure that out. Okay. Uh, you have to have that. My suggestion would be laminated maps. And the reason I say laminated maps is because if you have maps that are laminated, it doesn't matter if it's raining, snowing, whatever is happening, it doesn't matter with those maps. You can look at the map, wipe off it because it's laminated, and the map is still going to be good. If you don't have a laminated map, if you're opening and this map all the time, it's going to wear down. If the weather's involved, it's going to affect that as well. Okay. Having the proper gear to travel. There's a lot to it if you're bugging out. A lot to it. Again, there's no guarantee you're going to be able to load up the car or truck, and then you have your trailer and you have all your stuff. Uh, you know, there's no guarantee you're going to be able to do that. So you better have plans in place for that. I have talked about caches before. Having caches along the road that you can hit, that you can utilize to be able to help you get to your bug out location if you lose your supplies or your supplies are stolen or you weren't able to get everything that you needed when you bugged out. Okay, there's a lot that goes into that. Now, my thing is plan for the worst and hope for the best. If you can get in your car with a whole load of stuff in your trailer and get to your bug out location, fantastic. Now, my advice would be okay, if you have said bug out location, hopefully somebody is living at that bug out location full time. So that way, there have as much stuff on site at that bug out location that you possibly can. Because if in a worst case scenario, you have to hike or ride a bicycle to get to that bug out location, you're only going to have so much with you that you can carry or pull behind you on a bicycle or whatever the case may be. When you get to your bug out location, you have stuff there and you're ready, and you have people there that are watching out for you and your stuff. Now, if you have a bug out location that somebody is not there, I would highly recommend having the majority of your stuff hidden uh, on the property, in caches on the property, or false walls, or whatever the case may be. Like have some stuff, like you have a cabin for say, have some stuff out there to make people think that you have some stuff, but then maybe have a false wall someplace where you really have your stuff, or you have it buried at different locations on the property. So when you get to your bug out location, your stuff is still there. So that's something to think about as well. Okay. So these are all things that you really need to think about, plan for ahead of time. And I know it sounds like, oh my God, this is like, overwhelming and it's so much. And if you plan ahead and you're thinking of what am I, so like I said, it always comes down to what are my options? What am I doing? Am I bugging out, bugging in? Something happens. Where's every one of the family members? We've got to come together. That's obviously that's the first thing. Everybody's got to come together. And then if, like I said, if you are bugging out, safest routes to get to your location, the least populated ways to travel to get there, you may not be able to use the highways. So those are things that you can really think about. Okay. But, you know, having the caches along the way with possibly a weapon in that cache, possibly you know extra ammo, food, a tarp, whatever you may need. Like I said, what I always did, and this is because it's like you have to put yourself in that mindset, and that's the way I try to do it when I do a cache. And the way I did it when I put a cache up, I think, okay, if I was butt naked, all right, and it's obviously very extreme, but if I was butt naked and I was running through the woods, whatever the case may be, and I needed to get to where I knew my cache was, what do I need in that cache if I don't have anything on? No footwear, no clothes, no nothing. So I always made sure that there was a extra pair of boots, socks, pants, sweatpants, long johns, a jacket, a pack that you can put your stuff in to that pack. Okay, food, a pot to boil water in, ways to purify water that are going to be there in that bug out cache that you have. And those are things you need to think about as well. Now, here's the other thing with that. All right. So here's my plan, right? This is my brilliant plan. I am going south because my bug out location is south. SHTF happens, and they're coming from the south. The bad guys, let's just say, the bad guys are coming from the south. Well, my stash is in the south. What do I do? You have a stash going south, you have a stash going east, you have a stash going west, and you have a stash going north. Okay. If it's wintertime and you get wet, you're naked, you need a warm change of clothes. Absolutely. Absolutely. So that, like I said, again, making sure cold weather gear, and again, it would a lot of guys, it depends on your location. It depends on your location. So depending on where you are, you're going to know if you live in the desert, okay, you know it gets cold at night. It's going to be hot during the day. Those are things that you have to think about. Can I help you, man? Mm-hmm. So what are we at? 448 in the chat, guys. We're at 194 in the thumbs up. Again, if you have not shot a thumbs up yet, I would ask you to please do so. Thank you for licking me too, by the way. I do appreciate that. It really does make a big difference with the algorithms. So the more interaction that we have, the better it is for the channel. So I thank you for that reason as well. Also, again, if you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon for all notifications as well. And I thank you for that ahead of time. What do you do when you bug out and your bug out location is already occupied? Great question, Dale, and I appreciate that question. That's hopefully, again, if you have a bug out location, hopefully somebody's there full time. If you can't have that and your bug out location is occupied when you get there, that is one of the reasons why you have caches outside of the cabin per se. You know the area. When you come up to your cabin, when like if you're coming to your bug out location, you just don't walk right down the road and be like, oh my God, we're finally here, because somebody could be there that is not happy to see you. Okay. So you have to be very stealthy even coming into your bug out location. One of my recommendations would be make sure you have binoculars. So from a distance, you can observe and you can watch and make sure that your bug out location is not compromised. So that's another tip that I want to make sure I give you, because I there's so many things that go with it that you don't want to, people don't think about. They take things for granted. Obviously, we do as a society, we just take things for granted. But if you can observe your bug out location to make sure it's not compromised. Now, if it is compromised, you should know your bug out location better than anybody else. You should have other ways to be able to get into your cabin that other people would not know how to do that. Okay, so trapdoors, secret ways to get in, making sure that you have the tools necessary there to take your property back from people that came in and took it. So, those are things you need to think about. Again, it's all part of planning ahead. So, thinking ahead, it becomes redundancy, because you just go, okay, well, this is what I'm going to do if this happens. And if this happens, this is what I'm going to do. Somebody put on here, have plan A, plan B, plan C, and plan D. And that's exactly what I'm talking about with having multiple ways to get to your bug out location. So if you're traveling a particular way that you want to go, that's going to be the most time effective. And that way you realize really quickly, this is not going to be good. It's jammed up. We're not going to be able to go that way. Know your alternate routes from wherever. Okay. And plan D is to take as many bad guys with me as possible. Well, like I said, here's the thing: is people got to go to sleep sometime, and most people, if they're going to go and take out a bug out location, let's say, and because somebody's not there and they get there first, they may not know what they're doing. If you are properly prepared for every possible scenario, you have the advantage. And a lot of these people are they're gonna get drunk. They're gonna sit around. They're gonna they're not gonna have a normal plan. They're not gonna think clearly. And but again, like I said, if you're watching from afar and you have your binoculars and you realize, okay, my bug out location is compromised, and these are people that are there that are not the people that I want to be there. Then have a plan for that. What am I going to do? How am I going to take my property back? And if you know what you have and where it's at, and well, you don't put all your eggs in one basket. You don't put it all in one cabin, right? Why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense. So if you don't have a plan, you're preparing to fail. Number one. So with proper planning, again, and there's a lot of thought process in the whole aspect of it. There really, really, truly is. So you have to plan ahead again, look at the contingencies. So here's another tip that I would give you. All right. So you're going to bug out and you're going this direction. What you need to plan ahead for is, what happens if this happens? What am I going to do? What happens if this happens? What is my game plan for that? Think about everything in a worst case scenario. Now you might get lucky and you hop in your car and you're able to get in your car and go 6-8 hours of driving, whatever the case may be, to get to your bug out location, and you get there fine with no issues. And the reality of that is, if you bug out early enough, that could be the case. That could be the case. You're going to want to try to avoid high density population areas. You absolutely want to try to do that if you can, because they say, the statistics say, SHTF happens, you have 72 hours. That's the window. So you need to be at your bug out location within that 72-hour window. I personally don't believe you're going to have 72 hours. I don't. Now, I will tell you this, and I guarantee this is going to be the case. A large percentage of people, especially in the cities, are going to sit there, and in suburbia, let's go with suburbia too. They're going to sit in their house and they're going to be like, power's going to come back on. Power's going to be coming. It's going to come back on. We're going to just wait. Everything's going to be fine. Nothing to be concerned about. So to me, I believe you might have 36 hours. I don't think you got 72. You might only have 24. So at the first sign that, holy crap, this might be something major, you need to have, how am I packing? So here's another thing. What are we taking? What are we packing up? How are we packing up? Right? You better have that game plan set ahead of time too. So you don't forget, oh my God, I forgot this. I forgot that. I forgot the other thing. Know what you're going to take. Have that packed up, ready to, or not packed up and ready to go, but have a game plan of what you're going to take and know what you're going to take. So again, getting there as soon as possible would be my advice to anybody. So let's say, okay, something happens and you go, holy crap, this is it. You pack up, you jump in the car, you come down to the bug out location, right? Or up to, or wherever your bug out location is, you get there. And then nothing happens, right? Nothing happens. And you feel like an idiot and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe, I've just wasted, I've missed 3 days of work or whatever the case may be. Never look at it that way. look at that as a learning opportunity. And then you have to evaluate that. What went right? What went wrong? What could I do differently the next time? Practice run. Exactly, Mac. Okay. What could I do different the next time? And do a hard evaluation of yourself. What did I forget? Right? What did I leave behind that I kick myself in the behind? Because realistically, folks, when you have to bug out, and let's say you got a ton of supplies in your house, and I'm always going to use myself as an example. When we lived in Greece, New York, and I had a bug out location down in a small town, an hour and 20 minutes away. That was our route that we had to go. We had to go an hour and 20 minutes. I remember saying at the time, we would have to leave so much stuff behind, it would be ridiculous because we didn't keep everything at the bug out location. There was nobody there at the bug out location. So we didn't keep a lot of stuff there in case somebody broke in to the cabin. Well, it was called the shabin because it was a shed and a cabin combination. So we call my ex had named it the shabin, which I thought was a great name. But anyway, we didn't keep a tremendous amount of stuff there. So I always said we would get two carloads, my car and her car, get those loaded up, and that's what we would have with us. So, you have to think about those things and you have to plan accordingly. So, again, having caches even on your property is a really smart thing to do. And have them buried and know where they are. I mean, you need to know where they are so when you get there, and not just you, the wife needs to know. The shabin, yeah, that's what she called it, because she said it's not a shed and it's not a cabin, so it was the shabin. I actually had a plaque on the door that said the shabin, so it was just one of those inside jokes that we had, which was pretty cool. So, but anyway, that's the thought process with that, and planning these things out and thinking ahead of time. It just The less you have to think, the better off you're going to be, if that makes any sense. If you are just in, okay, boom, here's the mode, this is what we got to do, this is where we got to go, this is what we need to accomplish, it just puts you in that you're locked in. The majority of people, again, I'm just telling you right now, they're going to be panicking. They're going to be running around like chickens with their head cut off. They're not going to know what to do. They're not going to know where to go. They don't have any kind of plan. So their kids might not be home, whatever. The husband's at work, and now what are they going to do? They're going to lose their minds. But you, because you have planned ahead, you've thought ahead, you have a game plan in place, it gives you such a huge advantage that you have no idea what kind of an advantage it gives you, because you don't have to think about things, you just have to do, because you've already thought about it beforehand. And that's the important part. So now you're locked in. Okay, this is what we got to do. We're bugging in, we're bugging out. We get all our ducks lined up. If you're bugging in, you get the house secured as you possibly can be, and you need to make sure that you're ready for that. Now, you also better, if you plan on bugging in, you better have a bug out plan as well, because there's no guarantee that you're going to be safe where you're at. All right, especially if you're in suburbia. That was the last place I wanted to be, other than the city. Okay, that's the last place I would have wanted to have been when something happens, and that's why we got out of there. That was one of the reasons, and I felt that it was hugely, hugely important to be living at the bug out location full time. And here's the key, okay? And I want you to think about this. If you can live at your bug out location full time, number one advantage that you are going to have, the number one advantage you're going to have is all of your stuff is there. You don't have to worry about any of it. You don't have to worry about, oh my God, how am I getting my stuff to the bug out location? Because it's all there. And that's the importance. If you can, and I'm not saying that everybody can, but a lot of people, where they're at is going to be their bug out location, or they have a bug out location. Live there full time. Even if it means a longer commute to work, it doesn't matter, because all you got to do then is get home, because everything is in place. and your people, your family, your friends, whoever's coming to get work with you and work together, they're coming there. Ed, the majority don't have a bug out location. What would you suggest for them? Again, and you're right, Vlad. That's a great question. The majority of people do not have a bug out location, but you may know somebody that has a place somewhere. And hold on a second, folks. Some people have hunting camps. Some people have, their getaway location, for vacation. If you can talk with those type of people and say, hey, listen, you know, what if we make a plan that if something happens that we can come to your place here in the mountains, we'll bring X, Y, and Z, and we want to work together with you. I mean, that is an option that you absolutely can have. Okay. Again, I realize that most people do not have a bug out location, but uh, you need to have well, and I've talked about this a million and one times, and I'm going to mention this again. If you are not in a group, I would highly suggest you get involved with a group. Now, do all groups work? No, they don't. A lot of groups fall apart because they're doing it for the wrong reasons, in my opinion. You'll have other channels. Joe from St. Bernard Acres, he don't believe in the group, right? Oh, all the people that he lives that are up at his bug out location are all going to work together. And I hope it works out for him. I do. Okay. I'm not counting on that. I want to know if I can ahead of time who I'm going to be around, who am I surrounding myself, who am I associating myself with. I personally believe that if you don't have a group, long term you're not making it. That's my personal opinion. Now, could I be wrong? I could be wrong, but I doubt it because you have to think about these. This is what things that I'm going to tell you the advantages and the disadvantages of having a group. All right. Advantages of having a group: manpower, having enough people to get things done that need to get done, getting proper rest, making sure that you're prioritizing what you're going to do and those type of things. That's what some of the advantages of having a group. Um, Having the people that you're working with and working with them before SHTF happens, you know pretty much what their character is, what they're bringing to the table, and those type of things. Safety in numbers. Okay, if I have a group, and I'm going to give you an example. If I have a group and I got 100 people in my group, okay, SHTF comes, the 10 bad guys over here, right? You think they're going to come and attack a group of 100 people that are organized, well armed, prepared, dug in like a tick on the hill? They're not. They're going to look for soft targets. So having that safety in numbers is huge. Now, let's talk about some disadvantages of having a group, right? Disadvantages of having a group is a large number of people in one area, trying to feed everybody, making sure there's enough food to feed a large group. That's an issue. Infighting in the group, right? Who's in charge, who's in control, who's calling the shots. Um, you know, I want to do it this way. No, I want to do it that way. So you need to have, hopefully, those kind of issues worked out beforehand. All right. But that can happen. Stress, highly stressful situations is going to bring out the worst in some people. I'm going to tell you that right now. So you are weak minded people, and you can have, and let me be real clear on this, okay? You can have weak minded people in your group and not realize they're weak minded people until you get to that point where things are going sideways and they lose it. They lose it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. There's another one. Some guy hitting on my wife. Yeah. You could have those issues happen too. Absolutely. That can happen. So, my thing, and like I said, that's why I have a group. We are not just a group, we're a family. And that's what we're developing. And it's a locked in group of people that have the same mindset that we have a game plan and we plan on working together. It's not about, oh yeah, you know, now we've come together, SHTF has happened. And I've had people say this to me. well, aren't you concerned that maybe somebody's going to shoot you and want to take over? I don't worry about that, because if you have a good, strong group of people that you have vetted, right? You vetted them. They have good moral, strong character. You've been working together for an indefinite number of time, 6 months, a year and a half, whatever the case may be. Why would they? Why would they try to hurt you when you've had this plan and you're working together and you've come together? Why would they do that? It doesn't make any sense to me. Now, again, you just don't know. So, but all right. Yes, it is egg count time. Before we do egg count, though, and I will tell you when to start for egg count, so don't jump the gun. Uh, Again, if you are, we at 440 in the chat. We're at 220 or 282 on the thumbs up. Let's keep that number going up, guys. Let's see if we can. Let's call it. What do we got? How much time we got here? Let's go. Let's go for 425. How's that for a number, right? Because why not? We're at almost at 300 now. So let's go 425 for the number of thumbs up that we're trying to hit. So again, if you have not shot a thumbs up yet, please do so to show support for the channel, and I thank you ahead of time. Yeah, don't shoot the medic. Exactly, Robert. Yeah, don't shoot the guy that will help heal other people. That's probably good advice there. Again, if it really does make a big difference with the algorithms too, for the support, and I appreciate that as well. Again, if you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. So the goal is 425. We're at 299. Well, 302 now. So a little over 100 to go. So thank you ahead of time. All right. How many eggs today? And yes or no for Miss Thickneck. So we'll do that right now for the egg count. I'm going to give you guys a moment to get your guesses in here, and we'll see where everybody is at. So give you guys a moment, and we'll see where we're at with that. So how many eggs, and yes or no for Thickneck? And let's keep those thumbs up coming. We're at 306, and the goal is 425. So we want to see if we can hit 425 thumbs up. So let's see how close we can get. So I'll give you guys a moment. And here's something that it's a rare phenomenon tonight, just so you guys know. So far, we have stayed on topic for the entire stream, which doesn't happen. Only a few times it has happened that I've stayed on topic. So tonight, so far, yes, we have absolutely stayed on topic. But I think it's an important topic, and I really wanted to kind of try to break it down with you guys. So that is, that's why I wanted to do that. All right. So if you had the same guess as Jesse S. Jesse S. with 5 eggs and yes for Miss Thickneck, then you are 100% correct. So congratulations, Jesse S. You've won absolutely nothing, but you've won bragging rights, right? So congratulations. Yeah, what is staying on topic? It doesn't happen often, so don't get used to it. But this is an important topic, and I really want you guys. Whenever I'm really talking about anything, realistically, my goal is to make you think. Don't think inside the box. Think outside the box. Look at things. Take the rose-colored glasses off, and not take everything what they tell you is the truth, because it's not always the truth. I was going to say it's rarely the truth, but I can't say that for sure. But there's not a whole lot of truth in the information that we are giving a lot of the time. I'll put it like that. So that's the right way I think to put that. But again, the importance of a group is huge. In getting a group together before SHTF is even more important, in my opinion, because again, you will have to weed out people that are not going to be able to hack it. They can't commit. They don't have the drive. They may think that they do, and then once they get started, oh my God, it's too hard, and I can't do it, and they'll quit. Well, I would rather have them quit now When it's not life or death, then later on down the road, when it's going to cost somebody else their life because somebody quit then or wasn't there for them and didn't have their back. I'm trying to, in my group, what we're trying to do is put people together that you can count on each other, that you will have each other's back no matter what, whatever the situation we may face, that we're going to have each other's back. And that's the important thing to me. Character is everything. Character is everything. I'm going to tell you, and this is a statistic, and I don't know exactly what the numbers are, but I know it's high. You have a lot of people that have this: I'm going to go live off grid. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go and I'm going to live off grid. More than half, more than half, with inside of 1 year, are back living on grid. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay, I'm going to tell you why, because it ain't easy. Living this lifestyle and living this way is not for people that want the easy way out. It's hard work. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears involved in it, and it's a very difficult thing. It really is. But see, my mindset was always this: like when we bought the property in New York, and I'm gonna sit, and I want you guys to know, guys. I'm not saying this. I'm not trying to give myself a pat on the back and, oh, look how wonderful I am and how great I am. That's not what I'm doing. I had an idea of what it was going to be like when we moved off grid. And when we moved off grid, we did not have power from day one. We had a generator, and then we ended up, getting the solar system set up, the first of many adjustments of solar systems that we set up for our power. We started out in a 37-foot camper, me and the twins. Okay. They were, when we moved down there, they were 13. Okay. It was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. That's the reality. I underestimated, and I really tried to look at it realistically, but until you do it, you don't realize how tough it is. Okay. You really don't. But I have no quit in me. So I was not going back. I was moving forward. But what I realized, the biggest thing that I realized with the choices that we made, the lifestyle that we made, or I should say, I made for my family, for my kids and myself. And I'll tell you what I told them when we first got there. When we first got to the property, I said, I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm going to be honest with you. I said, these first 2 weeks we're here are going to suck, and they're going to suck bad because I have to get the solar system set up to get us power, all those type of things. Okay. So I was always honest with my kids. But I said to them, this is what I said to them. I said, but if you stick with me, it will get better. It will get better. And it did. It took time. It took a lot of work and a lot of effort. And, like I said, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. We got through that first winter, and that was not an easy one. I will tell you that right now. When we got to the spring that next year, I asked them, I said, if you want dad to do one thing this year to make our lives better here, what do you want? Okay. And this is important, folks. I want you to remember this too. It's not just about you and what you want, it's about the people that you've brought into this too. Okay. So you're bringing, and so for me, it was me and the twins, it was Eddie and Heather and myself. So I want their input. I want to know what they want. If you have a wife, if you're the husband and it's your dream and your wife is with you and you have your kids, seek their counsel, see what they want. And what I asked them was, what's the one thing that I can do this year to make it better for you guys here? And it was a unanimous more power. More power. That's what they wanted, was more power. So that 12-volt system that I started out with, that we dealt with through that first winter, which sucked unbelievably, we scrapped that and we went to a 24-volt system. Okay. We went from marine deep cycle batteries to the Trojan L16Es. So we went from that to those batteries. As time went on, and we increased our solar array, um, and we decided to upgrade again. We stayed at a 24-volt system, but then what we did is we went with the lithium ion batteries. Much more expensive. I absolutely much more expensive. We ended up going and building a solar rack. And if you guys remember the property in New York, that we have the solar rack up there. That's not what we started out with. We didn't have that many panels when we started out either. It all takes time and it takes effort. And if you're willing to wait, it becomes better and better and better. Everything. I remember the first time we went without running water for a year and a half. We didn't have running water for a year and a half. So we humped our water in. Mom was living in town. We would go down there and I'd fill up 5-gallon totes full of water and we'd bring it up there. And that's what we cooked with. That's what we washed dishes with. That's what we showered with. Okay. And the shower consisted of being in the camper, going into the shower, heating up water in the microwave, mixing it up in jugs like this so you have decently, not super hot, but pretty warm water. You went into the shower, you dumped water on yourself, you soaked up or washed your hair or whatever, and then you rinsed off. And that's how we did it until we had running water. That's not fun. It's not fun. But if you look at short term sacrifice for long term gain, it makes all the difference in the world. And as long as you can do that, it makes life better. Like now, when I came here to West Virginia, I'm going with a 48-volt system from day one. And that's exactly what we did. I got the components. Brian was a huge help, with that. My electrician up in New York, we talked on the phone and I had the solar panels. I bought them a year, I think, before we moved, before we came down here. Got the charge controller inverter combination, got the different components that we needed. I ended up buying the first two batteries that I got, all that was done ahead of time. And so when we came down here and we set up the system, and got it set up so that we had power from day one when I was here, that makes life a whole lot easier. Ronnie came down. We built the battery room, got that set up the same time that Brian was helping get the solar array system set up. I mean, it's all part of it. But if you have a game plan and you look at the big picture, it makes things way, way easier, way easier. And it's really, if you're willing to sacrifice in the short term, the long term gain, um, I don't get a power bill. I haven't had a power bill in 9 years. Okay. Now I can guarantee you this, I, and I don't care who it is watching, I can guarantee you that your power bill is not the same as it was 9 years ago. You're paying more. I don't care who it is. I don't care where you are and how cheap it is, and it's all part of this or it's all part of that. You're paying more. Guaranteed 100% without question. My cost has not changed. I had my initial investment. Then it's obviously maintenance, and you got to make sure everything's running correctly and everything is okay. Okay. But there is no bill. So all of a sudden, every month, that system is paying for itself because I'm not getting that bill like everybody else is. And to me, that is worth it. That is worth the sacrifice. That is worth figuring what works, what doesn't work. It's all part of it. But you got to learn. That's the important thing too. You have to learn. You better figure out what you want. Always okay. It always comes down to want and need. What do I want and what do I need? So what are we at? We're at 396 in the chat. We're at 341 in the thumbs up. The goal is 425. So let's keep that. Let's keep those thumbs up coming to see if we can hit our goal of 425. And thank you very much. Does battery room have to be kept cool? No, Paul. You want the important thing with the battery room. It gets warm in the battery room in the summertime just because of where it's at and the sun's beating down on it, but it's very well insulated. I would absolutely suggest that you don't skimp when it comes to your battery room. We went with 3/4 inch plywood all the way around, the floors, the ceiling, the walls. We insulated the crap out of it with rock wool insulation. And so that's important as well, in my opinion. It just makes it better, it makes it more secure. Again, I would highly recommend never skimping on when you're building. Pay once, cry once. I know you guys have heard that before. I have upgraded my solar system one, two, three, four times. Four times. Three times in New York, and then knowing what I learned from New York when I came here, I went directly to a 48-volt system. So if you said to me, Prepper Nurse One, what should I do? I want to go solar. What should I do? I will tell you right off the bat, I will tell you two things. 48-volt system right from the get-go. Definitely do that. Pay that money, do what you got to do, because I can guarantee you this. If you go with a cheaper route or cheaper components and cheap this and cheap that, that's what you're going to end up with. And I guarantee you, you will upgrade down the road. So we'll go ahead and spend that money one time, get the good system, get it put in, and then you're going to be in much, much better shape. The second thing I will tell you, if you're going to do solar, off grid. Do not be grid tied, because if you are grid tied, they still own you. Okay. So I would, and if you're going to be grid tied, if you say, well, no, I'm going to go grid tied because I'm going to get money back because I got this huge solar array and I'm going to get money back, do that. And that's fine. But you better have a transfer switch that when the power goes out for everybody else, that you have backup batteries for your system, that you kick that transfer switch over. So now that power is going into your batteries. You better have them. If you want to be grid tied, I would highly recommend that. If you don't do it, then it's your own fault when everybody else is without power and so are you. So, but that's what you need to know. Um, it is not cheap. It's an investment like anything else, and you have to make a choice. And that's what I would recommend to you guys. All right. Well, we're getting ready to do some shout outs here because it is that time. So we're 390 in the chat. We're at 350 on the thumbs up. So we got 75 more to go. So we're going to need 75 more thumbs up to hit our goal. So we got 20 minutes. So let's see if we can do that. If we can hit our goal of 425 on the thumbs up. How much is a 48-volt system? Uh, I'll give you an example. I don't know exactly what a charge controller inverter costs now. I don't know what the solar panels would be now. Everything, some things have come down. I know solar panels, the price is come down a little bit because they're making more and more all the time. But I'll give you an example. I have 3 batteries in my battery room. I got a great big one. If anybody's watching my videos, they see the great big one. That great big one cost me $4,000 just for that one battery. The 2 smaller batteries that I have, they were $1,000 a piece. So just in batteries, okay, I have $6,000 tied up just in batteries. Now, I need to add more solar for winter time, not for this time of the year. This time of the year, I don't have to worry about it. I have plenty of power. No worries. From March, until November, I will have plenty of power with what I have for my system. It's the winter time where you're not getting as much sunlight. The days are shorter. The sun is not out as much. That's where the issue is. That's why you need to have a bigger array, because when the sun is out, you need to collect as much power as you possibly can. So that's what I would suggest. All right, so we're gonna do shout outs. So what are we at 361? So let's keep them thumbs up coming. 425 is a goal, guys. Let's see if we can get there. All right. I want you guys to watch for a video tomorrow that I just did today from Heavenly Hills Homestead. That's the first channel I'm going to talk about. The guy is growing giant vegetables, really good gardener, and he has this channel, Heavenly Hills Homestead. Make sure there's 2 different Heavenly Hills Homesteads, just so you know. Make sure you get the guy with the giant pumpkin. You'll see a giant pumpkin, and you'll see him in the picture. That's the guy that you want to subscribe to. So Heavenly Hills Homestead, look for that icon picture. Check him out. I got a video coming out from him that I did today. That will be the 3 o'clock video tomorrow. Definitely check that out as well. It's going to be a fun video. A lot of explanations of stuff. I think it was very, very good. Really good guy. Definitely check out his channel. Okay. Next, we got Icky Can up in Canada. Icky Can is a good friend of mine as well. like 3 hours north of Toronto. Good information on his channel. He's been living off grid like a year less than I have. Okay. There is Angry Prepper down in New York City. That's Jason. Great guy. Jason is very squared away, so definitely go show him some support as well. You have Alaska Prepper up in Alaska, obviously. That's Rudy, another good guy. Definitely check him out. You have Alaska Granny, so definitely check her out as well. All right. There is the Sean James channel and My Self Reliance, two different channels, same guy, master builder up in Canada, living off grid, doing his thing up there. Really fun to watch, doing the building and his setup and everything. Really, really cool. There is Demcad. I think he was in Detroit, and I know he's moved. I think he's down in Kentucky now, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that, but I know he did move. Another good channel, a lot of good information there. There's Corporal's Corner, Bjorn Hansen. You have 80K Man coming to you from the Adirondacks. There is Bizarrizza Jizza, who does the Carrington Chronicles. Really interesting series. A lot of good information that can be picked up from that series. There is Marfugal News. That's Adam and Dax out on the West Coast. Definitely check them out as well. Really good guys. A lot of good information on their channel. There is Magic Prepper in North Dakota. You have Wrangle Star. That is Cody. Good channel. A lot of good information there. There's Red Poppy Ranch. You have Survival Lily coming from Europe. Nice young lady over there. There's Kyle's Cabin. It's Kyle and Sierra up in Minnesota doing their thing up there. Check them out. There's Bush Radical and Girl in the Woods, husband-wife team, two different channels. A lot of good information with them. Definitely check them out. They split the time between Michigan and Alaska. You have Green Greg's, another really good channel. He also does growing, but he also has other information as well. There is Southern Prepper 1 with his Boots on the Ground series. Real good series there. There is Gray Man Prepping. You have St. Bernard Acres with Joe. There is Doug and Stacy. They've been around a long time. Great channel. A lot of good information on their channel. You have the Nomadic Movement down in Panama. Real nice couple down there. You have the Green Dream Project out in Arizona. There is Camping with Steve. That is Steve Wallace, another good guy. Does stealth camping. Bush Doctor Survival. There is Monkey Works. You have the Needy Homesteader. There is Boss of the Swamp. You have Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project. Diamond's a very smart guy. A lot of good information on his channel. Definitely check him out. There is Patera with the Appalachian Homestead. You have City Prepper. There's Lumina Acres. There is Suspicious Observer. You have Bear Independent, The Uneducated Economist, Bushcraft Bear coming at you from the Canary Islands of La Palma. There is Mary Greeley News, giving you all the latest information on Yellowstone and everything else as well. Real interesting stuff there. You have Adapt 2030. There is Malachi's Corner. You have Ice Age Farmer. If you're going to get your weather, there's only one guy you should be getting your weather from, and that is Ryan Hall Y'all. Really passionate about the weather. Great guy. Gives back to the community in a huge way. There is Russell Brand. I like Russell Brand. He gives you the information, lets you decide. Deep South Homestead, another very family-friendly oriented channel. I would ask you to subscribe and check them out as well. You have The Outsider, The Fit Farmer. There is Prep Rebel, Simple Life Reclaimed. There is Town Sense, showing you how it's like to live in the 1800s. Another really good channel. There is The Prepared Mind. You have Pinball Preparedness down in Tennessee. There's East Tennessee Preparedness, The Economic Ninja, and last but not least, Little House Off Gritty. A lot of good channels out there, a lot of good information. I do believe we should be supporting each other, so I would ask you to do that as well. So we're 376, so we need 49 more thumbs up, guys, to hit our goal of 425 before we jump off of here. So let's keep those thumbs up coming, and I do appreciate that. And again, it does make a huge difference with the algorithms, so thank you for that ahead of time. Also, again, if you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. You know, the prepping and off-grid community are not big communities. We definitely should be supporting each other, and I think it's important that we do that. A lot of you guys put other channels up in the chat as well, which I'm absolutely fine with. I can't give a shout out to everybody. So I have my list that I like to use. And like I said, it's very, very important that we support each other, in my opinion. So that is that. So 386, we're getting there. 425 is the goal, guys. Let's see if we can keep that rocking. I know you guys can do it. I know you can hit 425. I kind of made it higher. I made it tougher because I thought it. Like I said, I know you guys can get that. You guys can get to that, no problem. But so again, the importance of having a game plan is huge. Make sure you sit down, write things out, discuss them with your family, know what you're going to do. So you can be panicking on the inside, and that's okay. And I can't think of any of us out there that won't be panicking on the inside. All right. None of us will not be panicking on the inside. But because of our thought process, because of our planning, because we know what we have to do, we're just going to do it. So you're going to basically turn your mind off. Okay, I don't have to think. I'm just going to do. And that's what's going to happen. And I think that that's really, really important. And that's what I want to encourage you guys to do, because you have to remember again, when I repeat myself, and I repeat myself for a reason, because I want to really share certain information. 95% of people are not prepared for a 2 week disaster. That is a tremendous amount of victims out there, a tremendous amount of victims. Don't be one of those victims. If you have planned, you put your plan into action. Yep, and Cowgirl in Arizona just said autopilot kicks in. And I love that. That's awesome. Great statement. And that's what you want. You don't want to have to think, you just want to do. And if you have that plan and you know what you're doing, that's exactly what you are going to do. You're just going to do. So we're at 395. So we need 30 more, guys. 30 more thumbs up. 30 more thumbs up gets us to our goal of 425. Okay, we are Legion because we are many. We are all over the country. We're all over the world. We are a huge network of people. We are the ones that are awake. We are not woke. We are awake. Big difference. Um, I think there's a reason for that. I really do. So where is everybody from tonight? We have Franklin County, Ohio. BC, Canada with Janet. Nowhere, Oklahoma with Okie Forge. Missouri in the Ozarks with Delbert. Got Virginia in the house. Central Iowa with Robert. BC, Canada with Emil. Inverness, Florida with Clyde in the house. Kingman, Arizona with David. Northern Virginia with Robert. West Virginia with Little Hood. I missed the rest of that, but West Virginia. Pineland, South Carolina. Southern California. Western New York with Karen. Brick in Pennsylvania. Cornell, New York with Brian and Leslie. East Central Illinois with Lana. Cape Cod, Mass. Somerset, Pennsylvania with Judy. Mud Creek, Ohio with John. Nebraska's in the house. Washington State with Jacqueline. Waterloo, New York with Sharon. Central Indiana with Susan. Brian Bath in the UK. Very nice, Brian. Glad to have you here. Thanks for staying up late. Greenlee County, Arizona with Codster. Formerly of Texas, we got James in the house. North Carolina with Jeff. Rolling Meadows, Illinois with Katrina. Central New York with Village Homestead. We got Lana near Iowa. Northern Idaho with Rose. West Central Ohio with Dale. East Central Indiana with Pam. Flaming Hot Texas with Dust Devil. Yeah, I guess you guys are getting it down there. Kit in the west coast of Florida. Cooler in New Hampshire, Brenda says. Okay, I'll take your word for it. Morristown, Tennessee with Patty. So again, guys, we're all over the country. We're all over the world. We're a huge, huge network of people. We got New England in the house with Anita. Kay in North Carolina. Morgan County, Tennessee with Nana. So huge network of us out there. We're the ones that can make a difference now by trying to educate people, trying to wake people up. I think that's important to do. But we can make even more of an impact after an event because we will be teaching people how to help themselves. And I think that that's important. We got Evan in Michigan, Omaha, Nebraska with Larry, So Oklahoma in the house with GMC. So all over, man. We're all over the place. We're what 409. So we need 16 more thumbs up, guys. 16 more. You guys can do it. I know you can. We got like 5 minutes to go. So 16 more thumbs up to get us to 425. That's our goal. Ed, as of August 1st, the incandescent light bulb can no longer be sold in the U.S. That's crazy. You better get them now. Oh no, you can't now because it's past August 1st. Well, if they're I wonder if they're taking them off the shelves. That's crazy. I don't. I'll tell you what. I've been noticing what this Biden administration's doing, and it is insane with the whole green movement and that kind of nonsense. We got Jesse in Columbia, South Carolina. Yeah, it's nuts what they're doing, and they're restricting you and me from being able to do so many things. It's just craziness. It's absolute craziness. So we're at 416. So we need 9 more thumbs up, guys. 9 more thumbs up. So many not ready, out of shape, hooked on drugs, won't last 2 weeks without fast food. They won't last 2 weeks without a lot of stuff, and that's the thing is. But in the meantime, Mighty Warrior, I want you to think about this. That first month, that first month after SHTF is going to be the most dangerous month for everyone. It's going to be the most dangerous month for everyone because you're going to have a lot of those people that are not dead yet, that are desperate, scared. That's the most dangerous person. That's something else I want you to remember. The most dangerous person out there is not your Delta Force Green Beret dude that's got the skills. It is that scared and desperate person that has nothing to lose. Nothing to lose. So that is the person that you should be most frightened of. So think about that. All right. So we got 421. So we need 4 more thumbs up, guys. 4 more thumbs up. Surviving that first month, surviving, you get, let me put it like this, with inside of 1 year from a true SHTF event, 90% of the people will be gone. 90%. Now, I will tell you this guaranteed 100%. If you have a group and you got 100 people in that group, some of those people are not going to make it through that first year. I'll tell you that right now, guaranteed 100% that some of those people will not make it. Guaranteed they won't make it. But the majority should. And if you have prepared properly, your chances of surviving once you get past that first year go up exponentially because most of the people will be gone. So, all right. I want to thank my moderators who do an absolutely fantastic job keeping the chat clean. I do appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen, that moderate for me. It means a lot to me. I want to thank all you guys for being here and supporting the channel, being part of this. These are fun. I like doing these and I enjoy them. And again, we stayed on topic tonight, which is scary because it doesn't happen often. So don't get used to it. And we blew through 425. We're at 434 right now. So we blew through that. So awesome. So again, guys, do the best you can, prep the best you can. Don't be victims. Okay. Remember, folks, we truly are all in this together. We are one race called the human race. As soon as we can figure that one out, we truly will be in much, much better shape. We have to stop letting them divide us. Race, religion, political affiliation, they're all tools used to keep us fighting amongst each other so we won't focus on the real problem, which is big business and the government. And we outnumber them. There's a lot more of us than there are of them. And so, you want to make real change happen, we have to come together. That's all I'm saying. Also, remember to hug and kiss the ones that you love. Tell them every single day. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. We never know what's going to happen in life. So it's really important that we tell the people that we care about every day how we feel. Last but not least, STD. Step, thing, and day. One step at a time, one thing at a time, and one day at a time. Whatever you are trying to do, whatever you are trying to accomplish, You can do it. The only person that is going to stop you from achieving your goals is you. That's it, nobody else. If you set realistic goals and then set about to making them happen, you'll be amazed how much you can get accomplished. Don't listen to negative people telling you what you cannot do. They're just miserable people that want to bring you down to their level. Succeed in spite of them. That's important. All right. Have a great night, everybody. I will see you all later. Prepper Nurse One out for now.